Hello, I'm Adam Simpson at Future Left Podcast, coming to you today with a little bonus material. Future Left, this is where we talk about all things future, climate change, technology, everything that matters to us, and hopefully to you. The conversation you're about to hear is about Facebook. It was originally recorded back in late April. It's a bit of a test for us, but basically we wanted to just put it out again because Facebook is back in the news. Mark Zuckerberg been a very bad boy. No, but it actually has nothing to do with Mark Zuckerberg in all seriousness. But yeah, basically, what's going on here is that in late April when we recorded this, there was in the news that Facebook had this internal conversation about should they rig the election against Donald Trump, them having a lot of power. We'll give you a little bit more summary of that later. The new article on Gizmodo, Facebook employee basically alleges that Facebook has been tampering with the trending topics section of their news feed. It's really not part of the news feed. I don't know how you feel about the trending topics section. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically, former employee says that the people that help curate have been basically suppressing conservative stories, or at least manipulating the stories to where they come from a, quote, less biased source than, say, Breitbart or Newsmax or any of those idiots, really. Facebook has, of course, refuted these allegations, saying that they don't allow their viewers to suppress political perspectives. But nonetheless, the source at Gizmodo is saying that they've suppressed various things from just the cabal of stupidity known as CPAC, the animated piece of cardboard known as Mitt Romney, and that curly-headed devil known as Rand Paul. So yeah, it's a big issue, and we talk about it a little bit more in depth, or the broader themes rather, in the conversation you're about to see. But basically, the Senator John Thune, this is why this is big news, is he wants to investigate Facebook, or perhaps, or he's at least sent Zuckerberg a letter, basically asking him questions about blah, blah, blah. You know, in my mind, I don't know how much authority he has to do much of anything here. I mean, we talk about this in the podcast as well. Facebook is a private company and do whatever the hell they want. You know, it's not a big deal. But really, in my mind, the trending topic section. Just real quick, what's in my trending topic section on Facebook? Let's see. We got Patton Oswalt on Full Frontal with Samantha Bee. We got Deadpool, Louis C.K. Let's see. Let's expand it. We got Justin Bieber, tattoo artist, discusses meaning behind singer's new cross tattoo on face. Isn't that what you want to hear about, folks? Oh God. We want to hear about Justin Bieber's tattoo artist talking about what the cross means to him. Now let's click on politics. Maybe that's a little more. Nope, still stupid. John Oliver, Samantha Bee again, Azealia Banks, Sadiq Khan, the new mayor of London, and this Facebook story. That's awkward. You should have suppressed that, Mark. But yeah, no one really gets their news from here. You get it from your main feed. Part of this, they're trying to compete with Twitter to be the news outlet. No one's ever going to go to Facebook for news. I just feel like you just share. I mean, that being said, be sure to visit our Facebook page, Future Left, on Facebook. But I don't know. Like the guy I used to work with, his name is Hussein Ibish. He once said, Facebook is for people who want to be thought of as pretty. Twitter is people who want to be thought of as smart. I don't know if that's an internal bias against Facebook, but in my mind it's true. People share these stupid images on Facebook with the stupid little words, the memes. The kids today with their memes. So we talk about that in the podcast too. Just basically how Facebook is tearing apart our society. No, but in all seriousness, it's a great conversation. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure to like and subscribe, whatever you're listening on the YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever, and share it with your friends. And with that, I'll just take it away to the conversation we had. Features here with myself, obviously. Also, my good buddy Casey. He's in it too. Sorry, everybody. And also Mike Bufano, the heart and soul of the show, and also the spleen and lower intestine of the show. So with that, enjoy this podcast. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Future Left Podcast. I'm Adam Simpson, joined by my co-host, which is not meant. I don't know. It sounds weird. The other host, Casey Rogers. How you doing, Casey?
Hi.
Great.
Sorry,
and
I
we're
didn't mean
joined
to do it
today
that
by another Future Left founder, Michael Bufano. Mike is joining us from Cairo. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing all right. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing all right. How's the weather in Cairo?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Dry as hell out here.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. All right. What we're talking about today is whether Facebook should destroy Donald Trump. We've all read the article that we were discussing. It was on The Guardian. It's called "You May Hate Donald Trump." We all know you do. But do you want Facebook to rig the election against him? Fascinating question. Written by Trevor Timm on April 19th. So just to sum up, Facebook employees basically started a poll like, hey, should we, quote, help prevent Trump 2017? And, it's awkward when these things are known to the public because it's like, oh, is Mark Zuckerberg just think he can rig the election? That's not cool. That's an interesting question because apparently Facebook has a lot of pull here. They've done previous studies that prove they can increase voter turnout by hundreds of thousands of votes without helping any one particular candidate. And related, Google's algorithm could be manipulated to swing electorates by 20% in one way or another, as much as 80% among certain demographics. But yeah, I think there are a lot of issues here. But first, give me your thoughts, fellas. How do you feel about this?
Absolutely, they should. So let's move on. No, I don't understand how it seems very vague in saying that they can swing elections. Like the fact that they can get more people out to the polls, that seems like a good thing. But they're not. What I thought they were going to say is that somehow they're actually affecting the information that's gone into the electronic polling machines. Like they're somehow rigging it.
No.
Right, but otherwise, they're just influencing voters like any other element of our culture would influence them.
We've had the same problem with newspapers, with television, campaign financing. There's always been uneven distortions in the media where those with more wealth, those with greater access to technology can influence others more. This goes all the way back to the founding of the country. So I don't see this as being anything different. And if the Republicans don't want to lose this election, they're going to have to find their own ways to manipulate the internet to get the vote out.
Everyone uses Facebook. It's not just about supporters of Hill Dog Millionaire, which I probably shouldn't call her that because calling a woman a dog is not a fun thing to do. So Hillary Clinton.
I thought it was a play on a movie title.
It is a play on a movie title, but I don't know because if ever all of us here we can't stand Donald Trump. And normally I would never want to talk about him.
Absolutely.
Because that's one of the kind of raison d'etre of the Future Left is that we don't have to talk about whatever shenanigans are in the news. But this has implications, right? So in my mind, it's a little bit different here because we all agree that if Donald Trump loses the election, it's good. But the precedent of social media networks getting into the game and kind of trying to manipulate electorates, which they can do. I mean, they've done studies that they can basically impact people's emotions using the kind of content that they receive in their news feed. So these are
right, but it's not. But it's not magic. It's not magic, though.
It's not magic. Of course, not. It's not. I didn't imply that it was magic.
No, you didn't. But what I'm saying is, it's not like people are literally having their emotions change. People are allowing themselves to be influenced. I mean, influence is never just a passive. Oh, I guess I have to do this now.
No, I mean it is. I mean, there's a difference between influence, whether you're active in that or not, and manipulation. You're not exactly an active participant in manipulation. What if Rupert Murdoch or some other evil villain purchases Facebook, and then they swing?
We'll have to boycott them. We'll have to boycott them.
Exactly. I mean, because in my mind, if it was well known that Facebook was manipulating things to support some dirty socialist like Bernie Sanders, who I'm support, by the way, full disclosure, but
because of the dirty part.
Yeah, not interested in socialism, just against hygiene.
Just likes dirt.
Yeah.
If you think about it, though, not just social media, but popular media and even popular culture already limits our access to the probable winners. Like you're hearing mostly about Hillary and Donald Trump already.
And this is another issue about kind of the nature of where the future of the internet, really. So people don't actually get their news from the WashingtonPost.com or the NewYorkTimes.com or whatever.
People now kind of get a very passive experience with the news. A lot of people are, as they're scrolling down their Facebook channels, their Facebook pages, that's how they're absorbing the news now.
40% of all news traffic comes from Facebook. That's pretty significant. People
That's not necessarily bad because most of my major news sources I follow via Facebook. So as
Sure.
long as, in my opinion, as long as like what
But
type of
if someone is
content-
imposing like what you're seeing on your Facebook page, like it's one thing if you like the NewYorkTimes.com and then you see an article that resonates with you personally, but what if all of the articles that resonates with Zuckerberg's vision of the world? And it's a good thing for the most part that he's like not evil like other rich people are. Great, but
well, and he's too public to do that. Like I think a big part of what usually brings conspiracies down for me is that people don't keep things quiet. Like if Facebook was trying to do this, they were trying to manipulate it, they wouldn't get everybody on board to be quiet. Like we would hear about it, and I think they know that, and I think they wouldn't want to risk that because in social media, integrity and availability of unbiased information is a big deal.
in terms of the like just the future of the internet, if we're not getting our news directly from the news source, if we're getting it rather from whoever is sharing it on their news feeds, that's giving a lot of power to these third parties, right? That's I don't know if that's a good thing because it could create separate little walled gardens where people participate in kind of echo chambers of their own.
But that's what we're already moving
cultural
towards.
discourse.
That's what we're already moving towards, and that's what we already like. We already like news sources that reinforce what we already think and what we already believe. We're already allergic to disagreement. Like we don't know how to have civil disagreements anymore.
I don't even know that I disagree that it's something we like or not. That's kind of irrelevant. Is
I
that
don't think
good
it's something
for
we
us?
like. It seems to be something that we've moved towards naturally.
Right, but that's not a good thing, right? Then
No,
we
it's
shouldn't
not.
just like throw up our hands at it. I think it's bad that people don't expose themselves to ideas that are that contradict their own views.
Most people aren't. I think most people think. I'd say maybe 70% of the population thinks that they are a little bit in the know about politics and about what's going on, but I think the number is far lower in terms of who's actually.
This is based on polling data that Casey conducted.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
just pull that
No,
out
this,
of his ass.
no, this is complete. This is completely anecdotal. By the way, so
I don't want anyone Googling 70% and blah blah blah.
I do want people Googling that because then that means I have influence.
Part of this, in my mind, in terms of increasing voter turnout, the way they did it is just by encouraging people to share, I voted, and then other people would be like, man, I should vote too, and it's kind of just using human empathy and our tendency to kind of operate in groups and try to fit into groups.
But I think
and do
that's
it
good.
ourselves.
Doesn't that make you kind of sad, right, man? I mean,
It
it's
does.
something pathetic
Like-
about that, isn't there?
No,
It is, but
they increased turnout through that strategy by hundreds of thousands of votes.
Which I like, as long
Allegedly.
as it's not ideologically biased, that's fine. If they're able to increase turnout, I'm all for that. But the better than increasing turnout would be increasing knowledge, because I don't think people are any smarter if they're turning out in greater numbers. Because me and Adam have talked about this before, where I think the amount of media that people are exposed to and the amount of supposed information that people are exposed to just by the internet, people think they know a lot more than they know these days because they sort of assume that, well, I've got access to all this stuff, I must know what I'm talking about.
Going forward, is it a good precedent? And this will kind of be our closing thoughts. Is this a good precedent to set? Politicians or elected officials have to convince, Silicon Valley elite like Mark Zuckerberg that their ideas are worthwhile and therefore they should not be suppressed on social media. We already have a system where people with money essentially buy influence, right? So how is this any different from that, which I think we all agree we should get away from? How is this any different? Go ahead, Mike.
Those who are unchecked with power, if they have the means to express their opinion, to manipulate the electorate, they're going to do that. What we should be doing is spreading knowledge about this so as to ensure that people are more aware of what they're looking at when they scroll through Facebook. And I think the more awareness you create, the harder it is to manipulate people in this matter.
That was supposed to be what our news was supposed to do. They were supposed to educate the voting public, but they don't really do that much anymore because
Adorable.
they are. There's two real models for how news can be set up. They can be private corporate entities, which means they end up needing to make profit by having
Advertising.
viewership, and so it tends to be a little bit watered down, a little bit sensationalized. Or you have the BBC model, which is their state funded.
Well, BBC is one of my preferred media outlets.
Yeah, mine too.
For example, during the Iraq War, Tony Blair wanted BBC to present a more positive view of the Iraq War
Right.
to the British public,
Yeah.
and they refused. The heads of BBC said, no, we're going to try to present things how they are. We're not going to try to manipulate the information that's given to us by our reporters. So I do like BBC, and I don't. NPR's, I think it has potential to become something like that if it got more funding, if we invested in it more. So I think it's possible that we could actually set up something like this in the future.
So are we
I
moving
don't think
past?
It's impossible.
Are we moving past expecting that of our traditional news sources to now putting that more on social media outlets? Are they going to become the new educators of the?
I don't know about you, but I
Like
don't
the Young
even,
Turks and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't even have I have a TV. I'm not one of these people, but I don't have a cable subscription, so I don't watch CNN or BBC or whatever
Yeah, I'm the same.
on television. I get all my news by reading it or by retweets.
Right, but that's not. I don't think that's like Mike said earlier. Most people receive it passively. I think he was talking about social media, but I think most people sit in front of their local news and at night just because the channel's on, and that's where they get their news from, and they assume that they're.
No, I agree. That's a different issue that I think we should explore soon. Is 'cause people just see something on Facebook, they share it. They don't even read it. I find a lot of times they just share it, and then it's silly. And just in closing, because I know we're out of time. That once again is why we should seize the means of production, comrades. All right, thank you for joining us today on Future
Thank you
Left.
very much, Adam.
We'll see
lovely
you all
Marxist
next time. Bye, guys.
Later, everybody.